You've seen how using modifiers with a single view gets transformed by view builders into a modified content view, but the other side of this is how SwiftUI handles multiple views. For example, try this. VStack text hello, and then text world. I'll attach an on-tap gesture to the whole VStack here, which will do print type of self.body. Now when this code runs, all being well, we should see boom, modified content, VStack, a tuple view, text, and then the modifier for taps at the end there. Really the important part is this thing here, tuple view of text and text. This is how SwiftUI encodes multiple views, a special kind of view called tuple view that accepts other views inside it. Now, tuple view is not underscore, which means it's public API, and I encourage you to look it up. Use open quickly, so Shift Command O, and type in tuple view, enter. And you'll find a whole bunch of places it's used. If I just look for tuple view here, you'll see it's used in, this is View Builder right here, in fact, build blocks C0, C1, and then C0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to this one, which is C0 through to C9. That is 10 possible views. There's a generic result builder that builds tuple views from 10 different kinds of views. A tuple view of text and text and text and text and image and text and whatever you want to. Critically though, notice it stops there, right? It can't go any further than that. That's where it ends, which is why SwiftUI isn't able to statically represent more than 10 views in its type system, at least not right now, hopefully soon. If you go to look at other build blocks, you'll see more tuple views. There's the same thing repeated again and again and again. There's his widget bundle builder, many of those too, and there's more down here for rotor content builder and similar. Hopefully going away soon at some point, but we'll see. Anyway, I think table, my favorite is actually table column builder. That's a real show, that one. Builder, this one. This has many things going on. It just gets really intense. Here we go. Look at this. Oh yeah. That's up to C6. God, good grief. Wow, that's C8. Just absolutely huge. So hopefully I'll get cleaned up soon. Anyway, there is no actual software restriction making 10 a magic hard limit. It's just a pragmatic choice by a SwiftUI team. They had to draw a line somewhere at some point, and so 10's a reasonable amount to work with. If you wanted, you could open, find that one we had a minute ago, which was extension view builder, this thing, to find the build blocks, and just grab one of them, like this one here. This is build block up to C9, right? And then just swipe that into your own code, right? And then say, actually, I want to support a C10 here. And I'll just add in C10 down here. So that we underscore C10 is a C10. Returns a tuple view with C10 at the end. And add another thing here, C9, into a space then colon for some reason, is a view like that, and just basically add your own version. It takes an extra view in the end, and now we say return a tuple view with C0, C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8, C9, and now C10, and now we have support for 11 views in SwiftUI, and so if you wanted to, you could make 11 views. You could have said text hello world, and then text some text. That's 3, that's 4, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like that, and that code will work. You have taken out this live code here, we wouldn't have the 11th view. It would complain about this one down here saying it's not possible to do that, at least not right now. So that 11th one is now possible thanks to an extra build block call. There's no magic reason why 10 is the limit, it's just a choice they made. And you can actually just send a tuple view out directly. You could say, I want to have not this extension mess, so, error. But I can just do a tuple view here directly of all my texts. So we've got one here, then comma, 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 comma. Oh, not comma at the end, sorry. And then end the parens like that. And you can do that. That's also allowed. Now, remember here, the double open and close parentheses matters. The first one, this is TupleView, make a new TupleView is saying here. And the second one is to mark a tuple of our views. All these things here is the tuple of our views. It's like, imagine if it was an array it took, you'd do TupleView with regular brackets like that instead, but it's not, it's a tuple it takes. You want to have parentheses like that. Anyway, this is of course why I've got to use commas as well, because it's a tuple, A, comma, B, comma, C. Anyway, this isn't magic. This is not a hack. It's exactly what SwiftUI does internally. You can go ahead and dig around and find it if you want to. In fact, if you want to, you can look at it. You know, TupleView is public API, and they're actually directly inlined into our code for maximum performance. And you can go look it up in terminal if you want to. Open up and then try this command here. It's applications, xcode.app, contents, developer, platforms. You want the iPhone simulator platform, this one here. Inside there, it's quite a long URL. You can find it in the contents of the book, by the way, if you look up the text. Inside there, it's developer, then SDKs, then the iPhone simulator SDK, then system library frameworks. This is where SwiftUI lives, this thing. I got modules inside there, then our SwiftUI module, and now you can open up something like the x86-64 thing. That's one there. And we actually want the simulator Swift interface file, that one there. That is the raw interface file for our SwiftUI. If you open that up, it'll open Xcode being well. This is what SwiftUI looks like internally to the code here. If we're searching here for extension SwiftUI.viewBuilder, you're going to find all the same code before, build either, and then eventually we should find all our build blocks. Here we go, build block. And so build block, we had C9, which is just here. Boom. Look, the same code. Initialize a new tuple, double paren, C0, C1, 2, 2, 2. It's exactly what they're doing, right? So it's literally the same thing we're doing, except they're using .init rather than returning a tuple view directly. Just it's slightly neater, right? But otherwise, the same ideas, same code's being used here. It's not magic. Now, SwiftUI doesn't really care how your tuple views are structured, because you can place a tuple view inside a tuple view, inside another one, it'll still ultimately get flattened down to a single collection of views. It doesn't really matter. And this means we can actually use Swift's partial blocks result builders, which are introduced in Swift, I think 5.7, maybe, to allow any number of children. We could have said something like this. Let's do extension view builder, static func build partial block. And this is generic of some kind of content, and it'll take some first content of that content and return some new content where that content is a view. And we'll just send back that. So we're saying when you just get one thing, fine, send it back. But we also have static func build partial block. This will take two things, a C0 and a C1. And the first one will be accumulated. What we had so far, in which case our first thing we passed into the array of data. But the next will be our C1. And it will return a tuple view of C0, C1, like this. I need to be parens here, like that. Boom. Where C0 is a view and C1 is a view. Now we can say tuple view with accumulated and next, like that. And with that in place, we can now have arbitrary numbers of views in our layouts. We could say, I want to have a bunch of texts here. We had before. Let's get the commas again. Like that. That code's fine. I could add some more texts. That code's fine. As many as you want to. Images, doesn't really matter. They'll all just collapse down correctly into a whole series of tuple views here. And because it builds one, boom, that calls just build partial block here. And it calls another one, and it uses the accumulated plus the next. And what will happen here is it'll nest tuple views. Each time it'll take what I had before, what I have now, into a tuple view. The next time it'll be a tuple view with tuple view, tuple view, tuple view, it gets nested, nested, nested. And it'll mean there's, in this case, stacks and stacks of tuple views, which isn't necessarily ideal, but that's how it works. Doesn't really matter how the views are structured though, because internally it uses runtime reflection to figure out what actual children it has so it can use them correctly. Now, if you desperately want to have the same TupleView layout as SwiftUI did, while also removing the 10-view limit, you have to have a whole bunch more build partial blocks to handle the full set of C0 to C9 views. Right now, this is not done in SwiftUI. So SwiftUI's had chance with Swift 5.7 and did not adopt this. It's apparently causing some type checker headaches galore because it's trying to choose the old API or the new API. It doesn't really know. It's getting problems right now. So it isn't ideal. But if you need it, bang, it's right there.